So the last subject in this unit would be eccentricity. And eccentricity is the ratio of C to A. And you can see from the visual on the screen that the eccentricity of an ellipse would go from anywhere between 0 and 1. So the more oval it is, the more your ratio of C to A is 1, and the more circular it is, the closer it gets to 0. Obviously then, a circle would have an eccentricity of 0. So an eccentricity of parabola is 1. The eccentricity of an ellipse is anywhere between 0 and 1, and then a hyperbola is greater than 1. So let's find the eccentricity of these two conics. And in the first one, I automatically know that my eccentricity is 0. But why would that be? I know I find c squared by, when it's addition, subtracting. This is going to drive me crazy. And if you imagine that I divided through by 25, I would have 25 minus 25, which would give me 0. So the eccentricity of a circle is always going to be 0. The eccentricity of an ellipse, which is what we have here, would be E equals C over A. So first I need to find C. So in an ellipse, C squared is A squared minus B squared. So that would be 20. So C is 2 square roots of 5. I know my A is going to be 6. So E is going to be 6, 2 root 5 over A, which will give me root 5 over 3, which typically we leave as a decimal. So this eccentricity would end up being 0.75. Okay? Now, remember that the eccentricity of an ellipse needs to be between 1 and 0, so this would check out. So what are some other ways that we could use eccentricity? So I want to write an equation of hyperbola with the center and a vertex, and E equals 2. So the first thing I'm going to do is just kind of imagine in my head that negative 2, 6 is here, that's my center, and 6, 6 is here, which would be a vertex. So I know that this guy opens to the right, so I know this must be a hyperbola that starts with x. So I'm going to put my center in, x minus 6, x plus 2 squared over some number minus y minus 6 squared over some number equals 1. Well, I do know that the distance from the center to the vertex would give me a. So a is going to be from negative 2 to 6, a is going to be 8. So a equals 8, which means a squared equals 64. So I know that 64 would go here. Now the problem is I have no idea how to get b squared, but I do know that E equals c over a. So I'm going to plug in E equals c over a, and I can see that c is 16. So c squared is 256. So now I know in hyperbola that c squared is a squared plus b squared. So c squared equals a squared plus b squared. So b squared is going to equal 192. So I'm going to put that 192 into my formula. And there would be the equation of the hyperbola with the center at negative 2, 6, a vertex at 6, 6, and E would be equal to 2. Okay, And last example is Pluto orbits the Sun in an elliptical path with the center of the Sun at one focus. So I'd like you to pause right now and draw that picture. So here it is. This is Pluto orbiting around the Sun. And the Sun is at the center of one focus. So my center is here in the middle, and my other focus is on the left. The eccentricity of the orbit is 2.49, and the length of the major axis is about 79. So I know that from here to here is 79. So I know that 79 is 2 times A from the center. So if I divide that in half, that's going to give me 39.5. And I'm going to square that, and I get 1560.25. So I'm going to do the center. What do we assume the center is if there isn't one given to you? So the center is going to be 0, 0. And I'm assuming the major axis is horizontal. Good thing. Okay, so my center is 0, 0, so I know this is going to be x squared plus y squared equals 1. And I know a squared is 1560.25, which will math frac to 6241 over 4. Okay, now how do I find b squared? Well, I have c. So c, E, E equals c over a. So E equals c over a. So c is going to equal, not really sure why I wrote 38.5 there. It should be 39. So let's make that 39. So c is going to end up to be 9.836. So now I know that c squared, which is 96.737, equals a squared minus b squared. So b squared is going to equal 1463.50. So if you try to math frac back 1,463.50, it doesn't math frac. So what we're going to do is we're just going to round those answers to whole numbers because we can't leave a decimal in a fraction. And we're going to put in here 1464, and we're going to put in here 1560. So the final answer would be x squared over 1560 plus y squared over 1464 equals 0.